Hey folks, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we are jumping back into our game with Late Age Man in the tournament, and it's turn 49. And, oh wait, whoops. It's turn 48. If you'll excuse me. Turn 48, and we are attacking Midgard. Got a big army rolling out here, just for the PD. Yoink. Here. You see, these guys are actually very scary once they're all buffed up. Like, these defenders... They're 6... Oh, that guy didn't get buffed up. Yeah. 20... Wait, no. That's a Lord Warden. 18 protect... That's a Lord Warden. 19 protection. 15 strength. 14 attack, 21 damage broadsword. These guys are tough. Very tough. With a shield. We got a battle here in Great Mountains. And again, I shouldn't be using these guys to raid. These guys really are special forces in my army. I should be using, like, defenders to raid. We're raiding here. Fortunately, we routed our mage. A reasonably large amount of PD. Only lost 4 dudes. So that part's going as planned. There are parts that are not going as planned. And the parts that are not going as planned are that the this Throne of Ulm was indeed taken this turn. And unfortunately for us, Midgard has sniped this Atlantis throne with some teleporting Galderman thugs and his god, the Frostfather, who probably did water elemental spam, and then these guys, I don't know what they spammed, but they probably did like lightning bolt or were actual thugs. And so he took this from Micklin a turn before Micklin could do it, and Micklin doesn't even have water stuff nearby or did not put water guys in there like he should have. He had water dudes that were here last turn. He should have kept all of his rain guards in here. Anyway, this kind of pisses me off that Micklin... Because Micklin has had this for probably like 9 turns now. Like, this should have been forted. It's really shameful that it wasn't forted sooner. And then he should have kept dudes in it until it was forted, basically. His underwater dudes. Because, like, what are the underwater dudes going to do? Anyway. So, okay, that's not good. But then the other bad news is that apparently this throne and this throne, or I have to go back and check. 2 thrones in addition have been taken by Midgard. And that puts him up. He's only got 2 right now, but he's taken the Ulm one. He's gotten this one. And I think he went and got like 1 or 2 more. I can't remember. So anyway, he's going to claim the Ulm one this turn. And he's got a bishop fish that's somewhere. And he's going to do... You'd be like, okay, well, we just have to kill these. Well, he apparently... When, like, a player like Nick Knight does this, you know he's not... And it's this late in the game. He's not just throne rushing, right? He's throne rushing and he's got Wizard Tower. And so if he does a magic phase forward on top of it, there's nothing we can do to stop it. So anyway, this army is going to come over here and attack. We're bringing more dudes in over here. We're bringing all our mages over because it's very clear he's throne rushing, so isn't going to honor a nap. We could move on top of this throne and pop it, but either the game's going to end this turn or it's not. And if it's going to end this, if it doesn't end this turn, then I want to follow our non-aggression, like our peace agreement. And anyway, if it does end this turn, me going on top of this fort's not going to matter. So we are going to, however, do our part. We're teleporting our god on top of the throne, this one here. And yeah, we'll do Power of the Sphere, Summon Earth. I mean, none of this matters, right? Like, we've got a shit ton of gems. We're going to spam out a bunch of elementals and swarm and whatnot, but none of that is going to matter, boys, because he's going to Wizard Tower it. So we send out a message to everybody, well, good game. And yeah, let's see what happens. They've got some desperate things they're trying to do to... None of it matters, guys. If he has enough gems for Wizard Tower, there's very, very limited ways we can fuck up. The only thing we're trying to do is we're trying to kill the caster. We're trying to figure out who would cast to target this province for Wizard Tower. And we're spamming Murder Winter here because we figure maybe the caster's here for the Wizard Tower. So we're going to hit this with Murdering Winter. And, like, I don't think I'm doing Seeking Arrow. Do I even have it? Because I think I should have done Seeking Arrows. Anyway, those are, like, the only plays we have. So that's what we're doing. We're going for it. But I'm pretty sure it's over at this point. And indeed it is, boys. That's just it. It is over. Turn 49. We send out our message. Well, good game, dudes. And indeed, a true god has ascended. And so we have a kind of anticlimactic ending. Somebody just sneaking in a throne rush. We teleport our god on top of here. There's some PD. Surprise, we kill it all. And, yeah, we don't even really get any good battles. I guess he was getting his mages out of that fort. I don't actually know what he was doing here. This kind of is contrary to our agreement. Did he magic face these idiots here? No, there's no way. Dolmen? No, this is just a normal thing. Oh yeah, no, we just attacked here. He had some dudes that were here for whatever reason. Arco jumped on top of this. This, I think, was Midgard's... This was not the throne that Midgard rushed. I think Midgard had this throne. This one was still indie. Midgard didn't even get... I mean, what the fuck? How is this throne independent? I don't understand. This was a throne... No. Well, let's look at the thrones Midgard had. He had this one. This was the throne he took from Ulm. I think that he one turn popped. Look at Micklin standing here with this big army he hadn't done anything with. Shame on you, Micklin. Just kidding. Oh, it looks like he did life after... I mean, 3 red seconds rather than Wizard Tower. Yeah. So, okay. No, if that's the case, I think he sniped this one, and then the Atlantis... Oh, no, this is a Wizard Tower. Did he have Blood 8 too? Well, let's go through the Midgard throne. So he's got this one, which has a palisade on it. He's got this one, which is a normal citadel, which this implies to... Oh, no, it's the Castle Arcanum. That's pretty goddamn lucky. He's got this one, which has a Citadel of Power. Okay, that is a... this is a blood... So he has Blood 8. His research is crazy. We'll look at Scoregraphs this episode, too. This was the one he got from Ulm. So he Citadel of Powered this one. He Wizard Towered this one. And this one he took from Storming. And this one he had the whole game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These were the 5 he got. Turn 49 and people didn't take their goddamn thrones. So taking this one from Ulm was... I mean, first of all, just kind of master play from Midgard. You know, he was about to be the victim of a coalition, which probably would have beat him up pretty bad. I don't know if it would have taken him out of the game before Arco backstabbed somebody, but it would have hurt him. And he was able to engineer a throne rush. The thing, though, that never made sense to me is how he's able to... Like, why people didn't fort their thrones. Like, how is it... I think these were the 2 unforted ones. Like, how do you... Like, how are these not forted? How is that a thing? Or maybe it was just... I think he had 2 the whole time. Maybe he already had... Okay. I think he must have had these the whole time, these 2. So this one was unclaimed and unforted by Arco and Ulm, is I think what happened. I could be wrong on some of the details, but it's just shameful. It's just shameful. And if this didn't even work, there was this other throne over here that wasn't forted. This one's still independent. Like, what the fuck? Like, Arco, why in the world would you not take this one? Like, what is going on? So I don't know. I think looking back on this, if I had a better scouting network, because I didn't really realize that these thrones were completely independent. I mean, I could have. I figured they were probably just unclaimed or something. I don't know. Like, and you could fort it and not claim it. But I didn't have good intel on the thrones. If I did, I would have bothered these people. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, go claim your thrones. What apparently has emerged after the game is that people were very worried that if they got the thrones, they would be coalitioned. Like, you're not going to get coalition just if you have 3 thrones and the other thrones are forted. Like, get your 3 thrones. This is what happens when you don't fort your thrones. You get your there's no reason you don't get your thrones. You get your thrones. And like, Arco was potentially going to have a war with me over this throne. Like, he was willing to potentially fight a war so that he got this one. And meanwhile, he doesn't even bother to take this one from the independents. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, claim this throne. Right? Like, claim it. Damn it. And you know, if Arco got this one and Arco got this one, it still would have been fine. That would have been 3 thrones for Arco. That would have been fine. Like, sure, people would have been worried about him, but they wouldn't be that worried if he, you know... people already were worried about him a little bit. But, you know, if he wasn't threatening a throne rush somewhere and other people had their thrones forted, it wouldn't have been a huge deal. So yeah, I mean, guys, I don't know. I mean, I think on our, like, even when other people mess up, it's still a little bit on you. Because, like, I didn't have good intel and I couldn't tell them what they needed to do. But it is annoying that I need to tell people to actually claim their thrones and to fort them. Like, come on, guys. Like, what are y'all doing? So, in hindsight, you know, maybe we could have gone a few turns sooner on Midgard. Maybe, like, 2 turns sooner would have been good. It seems these guys really were waiting for me. I don't know why they needed to wait. Like, together, 2v1, they should have been able to do good damage to him. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't exactly know what made these guys so completely indecisive. I also don't know how Ulm got his fort. Like, if Arco had enough stuff nearby to 1-turn pop it, and a lot of it was flying stuff like Zizzes and Great Eagles and stuff, which were good at sieging. But, you know, if he's got that much stuff nearby, you need to have, like, a good defense. He didn't have really anything like, he didn't do any damage to that army, really. I think he just, like, basically gave this throne up. So I don't know. I mean, Ulm completely crumpled over here. Lost this throne. Other people didn't claim any thrones. I mean, there's not much we can do about this. The things we did right, we picked the right target to go after. We weren't going to go after Micklin. We weren't going to go after Ulm. We recognized who the threat was, and we were going to go deal with it. We probably were like a turn or 2 late in going to war. But it was nice to have Enchantment 8 so that I don't have to worry as much about Thunder or Wrathful Skies bullshit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of sad we didn't get to see a lot of my stuff in action. Like, we didn't really get to see the Bow of War things play out. There's a lot of stuff we didn't get to see. But what are you going to do? Also, we put these games intentionally on reasonably tight throne thresholds, and I think our game was like the 7th to finish or something like that. So we were in the first pack, but we weren't the first, and there were a lot of other games that had throne rushes. So with this, you know, with the 9-player map and 5 thrones to win, that is, you can throne rush pretty easily in that. And a lot of games have. Now, there's other games that have not throne rushed, and some games are very late in the game, like turn 80 something. And if that happened in ours, I think I'd have a pretty decent shot. But yeah, I think I'm mostly disappointed. Because it seemed like Arco was a really good player. It seemed like Ulm was a really good player, but then they didn't get their thrones. And at no point was I thinking, like, if they have 2 or 3 thrones, like, I'm going to have to dogpile them. I don't think I was ever thinking that. I think if there were, like, unclaimed... I mean, I'm open to the case. Like, if they had 3 thrones and then they had a huge-ass army next to another throne, like, maybe. I don't know. 3 thrones is a little dangerous. I think if you go to 3 and it's 5 to win, like, you're putting yourself on a list. You're on, like, the watch list. But you're not... If you go to 4 thrones, you better be planning to fight everybody, right? 3 thrones, you're on a watch list. 2 thrones, nobody even cares about. Like, look how many thrones people have. Ulm had 2. They're back down to 1. So I can understand Ulm's hesitance to go to 3 because it puts him on a list. But Arco only had 1 throne. Like, it's completely, this is utterly ridiculous, right? And if Ulm didn't want his throne, let's look at the throne that Ulm might not have wanted, because it's one of the thrones that got taken. This was the throne that Ulm had. The other throne, which Ulm could have contested, was wait, no, this was Arco's. Okay, I mean, honestly, Arco should have had these 3 thrones. That's just what it is. They should have had it. They had a pretty big army here. If they had 3 thrones, I'd have to put a bigger army here. But by the end, I had a reasonably sized... You can't see it. I had a huge PD dump here, and I had a reasonably large army, and I had a lab. So I was recruiting mages and building this up. But Arco could have done this. If Arco did it, I would... If Arco had 3 thrones, I'd probably say, dude, I need you to keep no more than like 50 units here. If you keep more units here, like, I'm gonna like freak out and have to declare war on you and organize a coalition or something. But he could have totally been at 3. Oh my god. No reason he should have not claimed these. I think he might have been planning a throne rush himself and wanted to keep himself off the radar, but I mean, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Anyway, I don't know what I really could have done. I mean, if I knew this was going to happen, I could have monodropped this the previous turn when I started sounding the alarm that, like, he's going to throne rush. I could have done it on that turn. The problem is if I did it that turn, I would have killed... I would have destroyed the fort he was building. And we needed to have that fort up. But it would have saved the game, potentially. So... yeah, that would have been a game-saving move, maybe. And I thought about it, but I didn't want to knock the fort down. Otherwise, there's not a ton I could have done. I think the only thing I could have done is tell people what to do. Yeah, I don't know. Midgard played super well. Took advantage of a situation, and he was partially responsible for creating this fear people had of not getting multiple thrones or they would get, coalitioned. Which I don't know why anybody would believe that. Like, if I had an elf telling me, oh, don't take 2 or 3 thrones because you'll get coalitioned, I would be like, okay, Mr. Elf, we're going to go ahead and take them and put forts in them so you can't elf them and go for the win. But anyway, I think really good play from Midgard. A little disappointed in how this played out with everybody else with the thrones. But Midgard, very good. And really looking, I'm going to be rooting for them in the finals. I think they've got a shot. I think they could be a contender. So anyway, and I guess we can say who the player was. It was Nick Knight who's playing Midgard. So congratulations, buddy. I think you killed it. You did really good. Excellent use of Diplo to make people not want to claim or fort thrones. And yeah, I mean, just a beautiful throne rush. So in no ways does the throne rush part of it, I think, devalue the win. I think it was a beautiful win, and in every way you absolutely deserve the advance to the finals And so anyway, I'll be rooting for you there, buddy. We'll take a look at score graphs before we peace out. Provinces, it's kind of interesting. Here we are. You can see we're actually number 3. So we were actually in a good position at the end. We didn't have access to many thrones, but we were kind of okay. Forts, we were number 4. I'm kind of going to do my perspective on the graphs. We'll come back and look at everybody else in a second. Income, we were number 3. Kind of tied with Ulm. Gym income, you can see we were one of the 4 big boys. Micklin actually had, I think they had Eternal Pyre up. That's what this was. So Micklin had a really good fire income. Research, we were not doing that great. We were really slow out of the gate. And the big research contenders were Midgard and Arco. So Arco was actually the research leader. I never really saw him get to use any research, really. I mean, he did Serpent's Blessing and some Gifts of Heaven. But most of it, I think it was like paper money, like he had it and it wasn't really worth anything because he never sat, he didn't even use it on the indie thrones. Though he obviously had the technology, he could have done a throne rush with wizard towers and stuff too. We were not quite that advanced. And you can see our slope wasn't even that great. We were really flat here until the war. This basically is when the war with Midgard ended. When the war with Midgard ended, you can see our slope picked up. We started getting some lanterns and stuff too, and then we started having a respectable slope. Dominion, we were kind of okay. Army size, you can see Ulm breaking the game with wolves. But Midgard actually had a pretty sizable army size too. A lot of this was like corpse constructs and stuff, which is part of what he used to like one turn knock over that fort. He had a lot of corpse constructs. So a lot of this is corpse constructs. I'm not sure what the other, I mean, he obviously probably had a fair amount of elves. But I think a lot of this is summons. And then ascension points, yoink. So we'll go back through it again. So provinces, if we just look at expansion, coming out of expansion, we can see the loser in a huge way was Utgard. And part of what allowed me to win this war was I was a lot bigger than him. So like there were a lot of plays like he kind of failed here and then he failed again here. Like we can look at the army size thing and see where he all failed. Like he failed here, he failed here. Yeah, so like he failed before that too. One second, let's just do me and Midgard. Since that's like what most of this game is about. Okay, first fail was here. Second fail was here. Third fail was here. Fourth fail. There might have been a smaller one. If we get rid of me, we can see earlier. Like this might have been the first fail, actually. Or maybe this was when he won against my PD. It's kind of hard to tell because the graph's so close to the bottom. But yeah. While all this was happening, I was making a shit ton more money than him. Like I was probably almost double his income by about here, right? So it was going to be a losing war of attrition. He could have pieced out here and then gotten back his other stuff, and he would have been up here just as big as me. And yeah, I mean, there's tons of chaos that could have been taken advantage of. Gym income. You can see he didn't site search really at all. He researched, which I think is the right call. But you can see we were site searching. So our gym income increased. So there were many ways he was like completely all in, like completely fucking over his mid game. Whereas I was less so. Like I expanded some more than he did. I site searched a bit, not a ton, but a bit. I just had like 2 guys out site searching will help a lot, but they could also be in there researching. He had his god researching at the beginning, so he was higher than me for a while, but you can see we surpassed him. But this was about the time, like, he was higher than us for a good while. Dominion, he did have very good Dominion pressure, because he had an awake god, and ours was imprisoned. So I think that's the main difference between us. He also had really high Dominion to get out all those game herdings. We had reasonably high Dominion, but we were imprisoned. So I don't know. He had a lot more dom pressure than me. So anyway, that's the war with Utgard from the score graphs. Let's go ahead and throw everybody else back in. Let's throw out the players who ended up not being super relevant in the end. Micklin was kind of relevant. Gath was not relevant. So these were all the relevant players at the end. Provinces. I think this was Arco eating Joman. If we show Joman in here, we'll be able to see them. Yeah, they were eating Joman here. Oh, wait, no. Oh, I guess this is them eating Joman kind of slowly. And then Ulm, they got a big bite out of... Where was it? They should have an opposite trend to Arco, where they get a big bite as Arco goes down. I'm not actually sure where all that is. It's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, anyway, the clear winner out of expansion was Arco. Arco crushed expand. Oh, wait, I was not looking at Arco. Who is this? Oh, this is Micklin. Oh, that's why I'm not looking at the right thing. So, Joman. Okay, here's Arco getting big. Sheds a bit of stuff to Ulm. Yeah, here they were shedding... This is where they shed some provinces to Ulm that were part of Joman to get out of a coalition. There's Joman getting crushed. Okay. So yeah, Arco, just phenomenal expansion. I think this was mostly heavy cav and elephants. And maybe mostly elephants with some heavy cav. I don't know. I'd be interested... If Arco, if you're watching this, let me know what you expanded with. But yeah, they crushed in expansion. Shortly behind them was... Midgard. You can see we were actually on par with Midgard to be one of the big boys for expansion. But then we had to stop expanding and go deal with Utgard. So we were actually on track to be one of the biggest in expansion. For that matter, until we ran into this thing with Utgard, you can see Utgard was also on track. He was doing very efficient expansion. He easily could have been up here and been one of the big boys, but instead he decided to all in me. He could have just taken my deal. Like, he could have also just been like, okay, fine, you got it, and I don't want to run into a PD dump, so I'll just take the other two. And I would have been like, okay, deal. And then he would have just continued expansion like normal and been enormous. Like, that would have been a fine deal for him to take. He would have maybe lost like 1 or 2 Gam herdings, which does that really matter? Because he would have gotten the other 2 big provinces. I would have been fine with that. I think if he had taken my original deal... First of all, if he had taken my original deal, I wouldn't have bumped him. Like, I wouldn't have run into him. But he wasn't okay with it, with me having the other 2 provinces or even the other one big one. It was going to be, to whoever the good expander is gets the spoils. Okay, buddy. So yeah, anyway, they could have been a big boy. I could have been a big boy. This right here is why early wars kind of suck. Because we were certainly on track to be one of the big players. And then we got pushed into this marginal role, which really slowed down. And we had to do PD dumps. All those times we did PD dumps, that was like a fort that could have been built. Like, dramatically slowed down our research. Yeah. Not good. Not good. But you can see we are making progress against Utgard. Like, this whole war with Utgard is basically an upward slope. And by the end of it, we're up there with the big boys. The main problem why we didn't get bigger is because Utgard was so goddamn small. If Utgard was like a normal nation, we would have gotten a lot more stuff. Forts, clear winner here was Arco. Though they lost some here. I don't actually know how they lost all these. That's losing a lot of forts. I guess they were giving these up to Ulm. Next up, income, Arco, game leader the whole time. Midgard, pretty close behind. We were always in the running, though. Like, we were probably never more than like 25% behind Midgard. I think we would have beaten Midgard as part of the coalition. Though, of course, he may disagree. Gym income, again, Arco. In many ways, Arco was in position 1. But I think, like, I think Midgard's a stronger nation. I don't know. Arco's a strong nation, too. But I don't know. I think I had correctly assessed the situation pretty much the whole game, that Midgard was really in position 1, even though in many metrics, like, if you're just looking at this from the graphs, like, okay, Midgard's number 1 in forts. He's number 1 or 2 in provinces. Like in many ways, he was tied with Arco for position 1, I think, for a lot of the game. But in my assessment, it was never really in question. It was always Midgard number 1. Gym income. Arco crushed it here. I don't even know what all this was from. Maybe he went on like a mad site searching, like remote site searching casting here. That's what this looks like. This is just a huge amount of gems. Research. Yeah, we were definitely in the second world for research. And yeah, we've already talked about all that. So anyways, that's it. That was the tournament game. I know it was kind of anticlimactic. We had all that exciting stuff happen with Midgard. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit about how to play Man. Maybe gives you some ideas for how you might play them. You might do it a lot differently, but hopefully you found a few things you can use. I didn't, unfortunately, get to show you a lot of the late mid-game stuff, which I was really excited about. That's probably like the biggest letdown of the game for me, is that I end up preparing for a lot of stuff I didn't even get to use because I didn't really get to fight anybody at the end, which sucks. That's probably the worst part of the game. But I still had fun playing it. And I was pretty stoked for this Midgard war. I think it was going to be a really hard war. Midgard has a lot of stuff they can do to kind of mess with me. And I don't think I would have won a war with Midgard 1v1, but I think I would win it as part of a coalition. Pretty sure I would. I can't really check. I wonder where I had scripted anti-magic in the script, if it was script 1 or 2. Because one of the things the Midgard player was telling me is he's planning on Wind of Deathing me a lot. But that doesn't do much if you anti-magic turn 1. So, I'm not sure. Pretty sure, I mean, I would have taken some losses, but I'm pretty sure I would have trounced him. Anyway, guys. Wish we had a more exciting ending, but I think for the Midgard player, it was extremely exciting because he got to go for the Throne Rush, and he had everything perfectly planned out and executed it flawlessly. 1 turn pop on an extremely high fortified fort, followed by a bunch of magic phase forts. And I hope you'll join me in rooting for him. As for what's next in the tournament, we will be having the finals. I have no idea when all of the other games will end. My guess is that the finals will start in probably about a month. That is my guess of when they start. I think it's going to be another month till the last game finishes from when you see this. Once they start, I'm going to let them get at least 20 turns ahead and maybe much more before I start putting videos up. So for you, it's probably going to be like 3 or 4 months before you start seeing any of the finals videos. But anyway, stay tuned. It's also going to depend on my upload schedule. Like if I have another series going up, I'm not going to start the final series. So at a minimum, it will be 20 turns into the game before I start uploading stuff. But it very well may be more. And very well may be like, I don't start till turn 30. And then, anyway, we'll see. So I hope you guys enjoyed the series. I hope you're stoked about Man. I would play them again in a game 100%. Yeah. See you around.